What is educational psychology? What have you gotten yourself into this semester? Is it an ed class? Is it a psych class? How do those two get along? How is it even going to work? What have I signed up for? So just take a second and think about to yourself, what is educational psychology? And why do I even need to take this class? Well, educational psychology is defined as a scientific study of techniques for manipulating human cognitive processes and knowledge states. So cognitive processes is like how people think. So if we're going to change the techniques, because manipulating means change, right? So techniques for changing how people think and knowledge states, like how much do people know? When I say people, I mean students. And when I'm looking at this is from an educational perspective. So most of my time was in elementary ed. So I'm thinking of children when I'm thinking this, but it doesn't have to be wherever you are. So a scientific study of techniques for manipulating, so changing the human cognitive processes or thinking, so changing the way humans think and their knowledge states. It's also a branch of the psychology sciences. So, I mean, there's lots of them out there. There's developmental psychology, there's environmental psychology, it's endless, right? So educational psychology has its own branch. So it's kind of intuitive that it's going to go along with how we're going to teach and how students are going to learn. So it's the study of the instructional manipulation of a learning environment. So we're not only going to study the manipulation of how the human brain thinks, but we're also going to study the environment around in which the student is. So what can we change in that environment to help our students learn and grow? And also the outcomes of interest are the resulting changes in the learner's cognitive processes and knowledge. So that means at the end of the study, the educational research or educational psychology, research in psychology, they're going to find out the outcomes of what we're interested in are going to change how our students think and the processes and how much they know. How cool is that? That is so amazing. There's a book out there called Make It Stick, and it's a fantastic book, and I have a link to it on the class later on in the semester, and it's definitely not required by any means, but the whole book is on how students learn, how they think, how they study, how they remember. It's a fascinating book, and I think that ties so much into what we're talking about is because the educational psychology is like why we're doing this is to help our students. We have to figure out the research, we have to figure out what's going on to be able to change things to help our students grow, help them learn. Makes total sense. Educational psychology is basically figuring out how to help students better. So, potential contributions. So there's two big sections that we're going to be hitting in this class. The first one is going to be the number one here, so it's psychologies of subject matter. So we're going to be learning this class is kind of set up in two different ways. So at the beginning of the semester, we're going to learn more about like how to teach reading, how to teach math, and then even changing things in environments for students so they can learn better in math and reading for very specific subject areas. The second part of the semester is going to be more on the analysis of the learner, like how did they learn using specific cognitive processes. And so, we're all unique. We all have different backgrounds. We have different knowledge base. We have different study strategies, and our brain works in different ways because of different connectivities and different pathways. So how do we know we are doing the best we can to help our students? So I don't know about you, but I think that's fascinating. So that's kind of like what educational psychology is. Did you get it right at the beginning?